This is K-Pop Sunday, brought to you by K-Pop Sunday before you have to go back to work on Monday. We are your hosts, Onyx,
Min,
and JR.
Welcome to episode 26. Today, we're actually going back to our initial format, which I think we did for like 5 episodes and then kind of gave up. But today's episode will be all about our favorite live stages from award shows. And our next episode will be a short history of 3 notable K-pop award shows. But that is for next time. Today we will just vibe about our favorite live stages. But before we begin, we're probably going to be saying mama a lot during this episode. And if you're wondering whose mom we're dissing, we're not. We're actually talking about the Mnet Asian Music Awards, shortened to MAMA, or often also called Mama Awards, because that's not redundant at all.
like ATM machine.
Ooh.
Yes.
Or chai tea. That one really bugs me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In the episode description for this episode, there will be a playlist where you can watch all of these stages in order. So you can either watch them along with our episode or after or before. That's up to you. Just watch them. They're all good. Some have potato quality because they're from the early 2000s, but you know.
Good old 360p.
Oh. Onyx, what's your first favorite live stage you wanted to talk about today? That's a translation if I've ever heard one.
So the first one I want to talk about happened in 2008. So going back, but not my usual far back. I want to talk about a performance that happened at the Golden Disc Awards. It was when DBSK, TVXQ, Donbonchunki, whatever name you're going by, that was when they performed Mirotic. And this performance gives me chills to this day because out of all the end of the year performances they did for this song, for some odd reason, this one feels like them at their peak as 5 members. I think that part of that is the instrumental at the beginning but also part of it is me looking back and feeling nostalgic because this was like right before a lot of major lawsuits / splits that happened with second gen idol groups. And it kind of feels like the end or a kind of send off to second gen with them being on top.
You know, before this video, I don't think I had ever seen the 5 of them perform together outside of music videos, which is really weird now that I think of it, that I had never come across a live performance. But yeah. And also, I thought it was so funny. When I clicked on it, obviously the title says clean version. And I know they had some issues with the song and the lyrics being suggestive, I guess you could say. But just that they changed I Got You Under My Skin to Under My Sky. And it's just K-pop at its finest.
And there's a couple other performances that they did of this track where people consider it even more iconic. Like there's one where they're wearing white suits that's where like they won like a award during that time. But this one's my personal favorite just because of the instrumental. I love the instrumental for this. I wish they would release like an official version of it.
Yeah.
Like,
I personally have never really vibed that hard with melodic. So yeah, I really appreciated the background, like the sound of the actual song in this performance. It was very nice. Also, their dancing is really good, but like everything they have done has now become so overdone that it's just like, oh, you expect to see that happening at some point during any award show or something. Like,
And also, I like the audience, if you paid attention. Like, SHINee was there, first of all. I love Jonghyun and Minho trying to sing along to it. And also, Rain was there.
yes.
He was just like, whoa.
Yeah, that's one thing that I would suggest about this episode. Go and watch the actual performances. If not for the performance, but just for the faces of the people watching. Because a lot of times they're just really jamming out to it, or they look like they want to be anywhere but the award show that they are at. But there's a lot of funny ones in there.
Wellman, what's your favorite?
When we picked this topic for an episode, the very first live performance that popped into my head was Hyori and CL's collaboration thing at the 2013 SBS Kyle Dejun?
Dejun.
Yeah.
Again, I'm the one out of the 3 of us that has no Korean speaking experience, so I feel bad for y'all listening, but you just have to deal with it. In our list of performances, there are a couple of like 10-minute performances. I don't think the majority of them are that long, but this is one of them. And I absolutely love it because this was back when Hyori was promoting her singles Miss Korea and Bad Girls, which are both absolutely wonderful. And CL was being solo, promoting Baddest Female. And they just work so well together, and I never ever imagined that they would do a collaboration stage together. I remember seeing it first, thinking it was only gonna be Hyori, and then I was like, oh shit. Oh man, I love them both so much. I was shocked. And just the stage is so well done, as in the setting that they've made up. It's just good. And I'm just gonna say it right now. I love CL. I don't really like Baddest Female. It's not my favorite song of hers. It wasn't when it came out, it still isn't, but this performance actually made me like the song just because it just feels like, oh, this is gonna be something huge. Because it's so bombastic and just... I don't know, that's the only word I can think of is massive. And I think the song, the way it's performed with the band and stuff in this performance is how the song should be performed, because I don't like any of the other ones she's really done of Baddest Female. It's just really good. And also, CL does like a tiny little rap between songs, because they do a lot of different... They don't do a lot of different songs, they do like 4 songs. But still, she does a rap where she's improvised some of the lyrics, and she gives like Taeyang's Ringalinga a little call out and stuff, and it's just really cute. I love it when rappers do that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's cute.
I was just gonna say, I love that Hyori really played up on the Miss Korea concept for the beginning of this performance, and she was like super decked out in like a dress and everything. She looked so good. Oh my goodness.
And all the other Miss Koreas.
I know, that was really cute. I like that.
I love that one grandma.
I
old
know.
lady. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That was gonna be my comment. I thought it was very wholesome.
Yeah.
How it's like, it's not just Lee Hyori, it's not just the pretty girls who are the Miss Koreas, it's also like everyone can be Miss Korea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was great.
You don't have to be like the best or the prettiest or at the prime of your life. You can be the Miss Korea, the pageant winner, the beauty queen. I thought that was very sweet.
Exactly.
Yes.
And also, during the collab stage, they're wearing those high-heeled sneakers that were really in style
Yes.
for a whole 7 months. And I feel like that's really the only thing about the performance that makes it look old. And if you're not even looking at their feet, I don't think you would have even noticed. It feels fresh still, which I think is impressive because it's 7 years old.
Yes. Also, did you guys notice Hyori's nails when she does Bad Girls?
Yes, okay,
The
yes.
claws. I'm like, yes! Women!
All I could think of was just how much of a pain it would be for her to, like, blow her nose, or like if her necklace gets tangled up.
Yeah.
I always think of the practical issues that come with nails like that, because I grow my nails long, but I would never get them that long. Like, I don't have the patience to even go get like fake nails put on them. I could not do
I
that.
know. It's a struggle when they're on, that's for sure.
But she didn't have those on the whole time. They were just for bad girls. So
yeah, which means they changed between Miss Korea and the next stage, because she had like shorter white nails on at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is costume changes.
yeah, the costume changes were cool.
There is some bad camera work, if you're gonna watch it.
Throughout all of these, there's bad camera work.
Yeah, but it's minimal. It's worse on other performances. It's not as bad as Mama. Because Mama is just horrible.
The thing I also liked about this performance was how, like, they would come out on stage, like with CL, how, like, she had, like, this whole, like, emblem and, like, flags, and then when Hyori came back, she had, like, something similar. That was just very grand, very positive, female positivity. I thought that was good. So, JR, what about you?
Okay, so this next performance is special for a couple of reasons. It was Mama 2017, and Newest and 17 performed a song called Heaven. And Newest W was fresh off the high of Produce 101 Season 2. They had just had their first real comeback a couple months ago where they got their first win. And I also believe this was their first time at an award show like this, because if you look at any of the attendees of these award shows, you'll see that it's a lot of the same people over and over again. And that's because, I don't know, it's kind of an elitist thing in that sense. Like, if you don't have, like, a certain number of wins, if you don't have enough popularity, you're probably not going to be invited on these shows, which is a shame. But then there's turnarounds like this where Newest ends up on a show like this, and it's great to watch. Anyway, 17 had also just come off a very successful world tour and their second studio album, and it was just a great year all around for both groups. And Mama was interesting that year because they split it between 3 countries, Vietnam, Japan, and Hong Kong, and this performance specifically took place in Japan. And it was just a really great moment for Loves and Carrots, their fandom names alike, because there were actually 17 members on a stage at once. And for those of you who don't know, 17 was supposed to have that many members at one time, but their debut kept getting pushed back, and it never ended up that way. They debuted with 3 members, and Newest W only had 4 members because Minhyun obviously could not participate because he was a part of 101 at that time. So it was kind of sad, but it also was really cool to watch the 2 groups interact on the stage, especially since Tempest was a thing that never came to fruition either. Like, it's kind of weird to think about, but the younger members of Newest, which is most of the members, Aaron is the oldest member, and the oldest members of 17 are the same age, and that still, like, messes with my head. But it was cool to see them interacting together since a lot of them were supposed to debut together and then they never ended up debuting together. But yeah, in general, the song is really good. The choreography is really great. And I think they did a good job of blending the 2 groups together because it's a lot of people. 17 people on a stage singing one song. It could get messy, but I think they did a really good job of it. There's also a practice version, and Mama's version is garbage because of the camera work. So I suggest watching that.
Yeah, there's a lot of really weird wide shots in the Mama version.
Yes.
Where they kind of miss the stage.
It's like, you can't even see the audience.
Yes.
So why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And this is another one. They never released a studio version. And I'm like, why? Why didn't you release a studio version? People would buy it? I don't know.
Yeah. If you like boys in black suits dancing, then this is definitely a video you should look at because, it looks so good. I love it when male presenting people wear suits and pull them off. That's great.
Agreed.
Also women in suits though. That's also great. Suits in general, if they're made well, is great.
Mm-hmm.
So my next one is, surprisingly enough, a performance NCT did in 2018 on the SPS Gayo Daejeon K-pop Awards. So I hadn't really liked NCT until this was recommended to me by a friend. She went with me to the SM Town Museum. She knew that I was a big into like K-pop history, and like she did a lot of work with trying to get me to be able to get physical albums. She helped me a lot with that. So she said, in exchange, I had to learn about NCT. So, and she made me watch this. She's like, you have to. And she would quiz me on the members and what they know. I'm not kidding. She did so much work for me. Like, she's the one who was helping me, like, pull albums. She's like, hey, this one has a lot of historical context. I know that. You need this.
It sounds like a good exchange.
It was actually pretty good. Like, it was very healthy friendship.
Stuff.
Yeah. But with NCT, though, this was actually the first time I was interested because I'd heard Boss before and I'd heard a lot of their other stuff, but I didn't really like it. And I only kind of liked Regular. I don't know if this was what SM was going for, but having Mark sort of switch between subunits helped me to make the connection between the different subunits and understand what the group was going for. And you'd think with having all the units and all the members at that time on the stage would have been overwhelming, but instead, it encouraged me to give their discography another try, outside of being pushed by my friend to do so. And funnily enough, besides Mark, the person who stood out the most to me on that stage was Johnny. And he didn't even have a big solo part.
Because he's so tall.
You know what it was? It was the bandana around his neck. That just, I was not expecting someone to wear that. Weird, but, due to this performance turning me from not being interested into being a fan is why it's my second favorite, because it did have a positive effect on me. So if you're trying to get into NCT, this performance kind of hooked me, so maybe it will do the same for you.
NCT 2018 is one of my favorite iterations of the group. So I don't know how I hadn't seen this performance before, but it was so good. And I also completely forgot how good Black on Black is as a performance. Like, the song is not necessarily something you would listen to just in your free time, but as a whole, watching all of them together, it's really good. And I appreciate approve of your pick. That's pretty much all I have to say.
I'm the one that's the most unfamiliar with NCT, but it was a really good performance and a very good, like, tasting menu. If you don't know the group, then hey, you get to hear a little bit of a lot of songs. It's nice. Suits. I love me some Suits.
That your description of like basically being like a tasting menu, like ooh, sample all this stuff. That reminds me of how I got into Super Junior, because my first song with them was You, which was also their first win. That is one of the few times where, especially because it was like the biggest group at the time, and they were stable to where like each of them I feel like got a chance to shine, and so then it's like, oh, this guy's awesome. Oh, this guy's awesome. Oh, this guy's awesome. Oh, I like this guy too. So I feel like the NCT kind of did that, but with subunits, not with individual members. That this performance was with the units and the group as a whole, but not individual members, except maybe Mark. Yeah, I like Mark because of his lines in Jopping.
They are so good. Oh my gosh, he makes that song.
Yeah. So Min, let's talk about your next pick, which I'm very, very excited about.
Another old one. Not really, really old one, but for K-pop, it's pretty old. It's from 2008. And it is SHINee performing at the Golden Disc Awards. They did basically all their title tracks up to that point, which was Replay, Love Like Oxygen, and Amigo. And SHINee hadn't even been around for a full year yet. If my math is right, only 7 months old when they did this award show, and they even won Best Newcomer Album at the 2008 Golden Disc Awards, which is pretty insane. And about the performance itself, I personally love that they're pretending to be puppets in the beginning. It's a good performance. Go look at baby Taemin. He's such a baby.
I know. Because he was, what, 14 at that time?
Yeah, he was so young.
14, 15. Korean age is hard.
I know.
Ooh.
Yeah, this performance. First of all, the puppet part, I was watching it and I was just like, In Sync is in my head. Like, the beginning of Bye Bye Bye.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
I loved it. It, like, almost made me emotional watching them so young and just thinking of how far they've come and all the things they've accomplished in this time, 12 years. Like, it's really cool going back and looking at them then.
Yeah.
Also, kind of cute. This is the same award show as where the Domonchiki was.
Oh.
Where TVXQ performed.
Oh,
Same
yeah.
exact thing. But also I noticed they looked at different people in the audience for the SHINee performance. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the first people they panned to was Shinhwa.
Yeah!
Shinhwa was in the crowd and they were mouthing the words. Like,
Oh
Shinhwa
my
knew the words.
gosh, that's awesome.
And Shinhwa used to be with SM, and then they left. But they were around when Tomonchinki debuted. It was around the time when like they were leaving SM, but SM was like putting their name on stuff still. Like, I have a poster where they have the name of Shinhwa, but Shinhwa never appeared on the album that they were promoting.
Oh my goodness.
But they were
That's
like
hilarious.
They had their claws in them till the end. So to see them, like, once again, the SM connection, where it's like, they were probably gone from SM before these guys started training. So just the fact that they were keeping up with their little juniors
That's cute.
was very sweet to me. And also, they panned to TVXQ. And TVXQ were also very like, yes, there's our little guys up on stage. Because SHINee looked up to TVXQ when they first debuted. And there's one video, I don't know where it could be now. I haven't seen it in years. But basically, they were trying to say hi to them in a waiting room, and TVXQ kept like trying to offer them stuff and like, do you want to hang out with us? And they were like, no, we gotta go. But like, they were just kind of like shook that these people that they looked up to were trying to hang out with them.
That's so cute.
It was very cute, and SHINee was just like, does not compute. Very sweet. Speaking of very sweet, JR, talk about your next one.
My next one is from the 2017 KBS Song Festival, and it was titled Girls Present, and that's because Red Velvet, Twice, G-Friend, and IOI all came together for a collaboration stage. And again, I got really oddly emotional watching this, and I think it might just be because it's from a different, possibly better time. I don't know. It's a great performance. And it's stayed in my mind for the past 3 years. I think about it every once in a while, and they just look like they're having so much fun. And I haven't seen such a large scale collaboration in a few years, I feel like. I don't know. I don't really watch the festivals and the award shows like I used to. I'll watch an odd one out every once in a while, but it's just, I mean, that is 4 groups and they all have at least 5 members and more, actually. So it's just that a lot of girls on stage. But G-Friend comes out, then IOI, then Twice, and then Red Velvet, and they each do a little snippet introduction of the song that I don't know if it was the most popular of the year or the most recently promoted song, but they all come out, do their little thing, and then go into like one group in the back, one group in the front, and then they start singing Girls' Generation Into the New World, and it's just really wholesome. And if you love any of these girl groups, I suggest you go watch it, and if you miss IOI, then definitely go watch it, because it's great.
Yeah, it was really nice just seeing so many girl groups on stage at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I wish was that KBS had found a better way to bring each group onto the stage. When you see like Red Velvet walking up to the X on the floor where they're supposed to perform, everybody looks awkward when they're doing that walk.
Yeah, because they kind of have to like run a little bit to make sure they get there on time.
It was like a clown car.
Yeah, that's the only part that I'm like, ooh, I wish somebody had 5 minutes extra to think about.
Yeah, the blocking's odd.
Yeah, but it's really good, and it's a really good cover of Into the New World. Like, it's making me happy.
I also liked how they were able to integrate all of the group members to where, like, you could see, like, someone in Twice next to someone in Red Velvet, next to someone from G-Friend. Like, it was a very good mix, but everyone was wearing very distinct outfits and colors to where, like, you could see, like, everyone was mixed.
Right.
And I think that was like a really good thing, especially because people always try to pit groups against each other. But this is just showing, especially because we know a lot of idols are actually good friends with each other. I feel like this was sort of like, it was a very good representation of people coming together in the industry and making a good performance that everyone knows the song. A lot of people enjoy it. And it was just very wholesome.
The performance reminded me a lot of, this is a reference not a lot of people are gonna get because it's so old and it's not K-pop.
Oh.
But it reminded me a lot of Hello Project's single called One for All for One, where they took every active Hello Project group in a room and made a song together. You could see all the different groups like performing, singing together, but also singing as a group and then singing with other people from other groups. And it was just wholesome. It's just wholesome. If you know that reference, if you're like that one person listening to this, know this, please find me on Twitter and say, hey, I've seen this song. But yeah, Onyx, save us all.
Okay, so my next one is BAP's 2012 Melon Music Awards performance. So BAP had one of the strongest debuts of all time in K-pop, in my opinion. Just right out the gate, they were just very high quality with their performance, confidence. They were just always great. But I like this particular performance because it stayed on brand with them. So at the time, they used to be a lot tougher than they were towards the end. Towards the end, they kind of mellowed out, which was good for them, but I do like the way that they started. Very strong. This performance starts with like screens showing them like almost as though it's them walking through a building on surveillance cameras, and it looks like they were like about to do like a heist. And there's at one point where Jungkook like really puts his face in the camera and then he just like slams it and then it cuts to the stage where like there's sirens going, red lights, and the best part is that they had guys dressed up like a massive SWAT team who were on the stage at the beginning of the performance and then they stormed the stage at the end of the performance. And also I like how like in the original choreography it's supposed to be them at the end basically making finger guns at Jello until he falls, but in this one instead it was the SWAT team that fell. Ooh. And VAP got to wander off together, no problem.
Yeah, their stage presence as rookies, incredible. Like, you watch that and you're like, how did they just debut? I mean, that thought just goes right out the window because they are doing so well. And I also think that they had just an impressive amount of backup dancers and extras for having just debuted that year. I feel like as a group gets more popular, they kind of upgrade their stages as they go, but this was like a 10 out of 10 right out the gate. And I just missed BAP. They were so good.
Yeah, the only thing I dislike about this, all the members of BAP are wearing winter clothes at this award show. Like, one of them is wearing almost ankle-length trench coat. Warrior has a lot of dancing in it, rolling around on the floor and stuff. And people are wearing like fluffy winter coats. A dude has a scarf where you can see his microphone almost getting caught in his scarf. That must have sucked. It must have been so warm.
Not only that, but the lights on them. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the performance is really, really solid, but it must have absolutely sucked for all of them not being able to take off those clothes at any point, because I'm pretty sure they sat through the award show in those outfits too.
Oh my goodness. That would have been terrible.
They might have.
Yeah, that must have sucked.
So, Min, let's talk about your next performance.
Yes.
Well, not you perform it. You didn't perform it.
No. Oh.
Just your favorite performances that you've seen at an award show.
Yes. Back at it again with the Mama performance. In 2009, Brown Eyed Girls and Kara did a stage together. And honestly, I originally didn't know that they did a performance together because I'd only seen the Brown Eyed Girls part, because that's the only part of this performance that Mnet has posted it onto YouTube, and not the rest of it, which is incredibly rude because it's from 2009. The quality of all unofficial sources is garbage. But yes, it's really, really good. So the performance starts out with Brown Eyed Girls doing a orchestra version of Sign, and then Kara comes in and does a rock version of Honey, and then both groups do a remix together of Abracadabra and Mister. And it's just really, really cool.
And I'm a big fan of the fact that they used an orchestra and a rock band. I like it when they use these performances to go out of the bubble that they have, you know?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously on M Countdown, you can't sit there with an orchestra behind you while you perform. And even during a concert, you won't necessarily see that either. So these performances really allow them to kind of expand their horizons, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, I really liked when they were collabing together. There's one part where the stage lifts up and all the members are like kind of squished up on there. And the most impressive thing is that nobody fell off.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that I took from it, was like, okay, everyone's safe. But then also, my kind of bug with it, though, was that during Honey, the girls were so quiet.
Yeah.
Like, they got really drowned out, which, like, you could hear, like, the guys in the rock band, like, their mics were way higher up than the girls. It's like, why? I liked it, and, like, the girls were clearly having, like, a good time with it, but I was just kind of like, boost them up. Honey is a very quiet song. Like, it's not like Mister. It's not a very loud song. It's very sweet, mellow, quiet. Kind of like, if for those of you who are big fans of A Pink and you haven't heard the song, it's like A Pink-esque. Like, with just like that sort of like quiet, pleasant sound. So, but the rock band did fit with it, though. I would not have expected a rock version to go well, but I think it did. And I love also how they traded off between Abracadabra and Mister, and the choreography. It was actually really well done.
Yeah.
My next pick is from Mama 2016, and they brought us a live version, and I'm pretty sure the first live performance of Bermuda Triangle by Fancy Child. Fancy Child is a group that was formed in 2016 with people like Ponomako. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so forgive me for my pronunciation, but he's done a lot of his own music, but he's also featured on a lot of artists. He's got songs with everyone. I've sometimes seen Zion T included in the list, but sometimes he's not, so don't believe me necessarily. Do your own research. But the song Bermuda Triangle specifically only features Zico, Crush, and Dean, and that's okay because it works so well. Their voices go so good together. I am a big fan of this song. Let me just say that. It's essentially saying that they are the Bermuda Triangle, the three of them, and competition disappears before them when they try to face Fancy Child, I guess. Like, it's a little campy, but I like it. And the performance itself, it's not the most flashy one on the list by far, because these guys don't really dance. Like, even Zico, he was part of Block B, but Block B isn't known for their dancing, let me say that. So don't expect, like, hard-hitting choreography or anything like that, but it's just, they all have really great stage presence, and I think it shines through in this performance specifically. And the song is super catchy. Oh my goodness. Crush's line, all his lines in this, Like, of all of it, I'm gonna say it right now, I'm not the biggest fan of Zico, even in this song. Dean and Crush are the ones that shine to me in this one, but that's just me personally.
I really like how stripped back the Bermuda Triangle performance is. Because anything else would be kind of weird, honestly. And it works. It just works so well. 3 people, 3 rappers managing to make a stage not feel empty and uninteresting is very difficult. And they pulled it off so well. I usually really don't like when they have a part of a stage and the stage is like lifts up because I was scared that somebody's gonna hurt themselves. But they were so chill about it. It's great.
All right, Onyx, give us your last pick.
So my last pick is also one that is very near and dear to my heart. I don't think I really talked about this too much, but I'm a massive Ladies Code fan. Like, they're one of the few groups that I love every single track that they've made. They were also the first Korean group that I actually went out and bought a poster for after I did my huge purge of my old stuff. Like, they were the first. So in 2013, they were at the Golden Bell Awards to perform, and that is a prestigious acting award show. It's not for K-pop. And sadly, this is the worst part for me. It's the only award show, to my knowledge, that they ever went to and performed at. So that's also possibly why I like this one so much. I really like this performance because it was jazzy and kind of fancy, but it was still fun, especially towards the end when the girls are dancing with their backup dancers. I just thought it was a very fun take on Pretty Pretty. And the thing with Pretty Pretty and a lot of other Ladies Code tracks is that when it pans to the audience, a lot of times the audience is having like a good time, like they're doing like their own dancing around or singing along to it. At the time, that they were a very interactive group. Like, you could not just sit in your seat and watch. That's not how Ladies Code was meant to be sort of consumed. But there was also one guy, you guys will probably know better than me, there's one guy who's like singing along, like having like a good time.
The guy who's like smiling and bobbing his head?
Yeah, who's that?
Yang Dong-gun, a rapper and an actor. He's hilarious. I love everything that I've seen him in. He's good at acting in more serious roles, but I've also seen him in some funnier ones. But yeah, that, and there was an actress or two in there. Personally, I think this actually is one of the more receptive crowds I've seen at a non-K-pop award show, particularly because of him. I mean, at the beginning, what's his name? Jo Jung-suk, I think his name is,
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm not even here right now. Who are these people? Why am I here? He just looks so angry.
Am I getting an award?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's just like impatient, like, these are not actors.
It's a really fun performance, and the champagne gold outfits I thought were really pretty, even though they look a little bit out of style now, but I really enjoyed it.
Totally.
I thought it was a great performance.
Yeah, like, we haven't actually mentioned this yet, but drama award shows and acting award shows, the crowds are really, really tough at those award shows. Like, I've seen performances of, like, Rain ripping his shirt off, and the entire crowd is just blank.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Award show crowds, they're rough. They're really, really rough. Like, they don't want to be a part of any of this. So seeing the actors actually smile, at least like 4 of them, was great.
Yeah. I was just like, come on. Like, Pretty Pretty especially, I don't remember where I saw it, but there was like one performance that they did of it where I guess that they had it handed out, like they had these like giant foam hands that the male backup dancers have, and apparently someone handed them out to the audience too, so the audience was doing like their hands up as well.
Oh, that's great.
Aww.
It just looked like Ladies Code's one of those where I wish I had been in Korea when they were active, just because I would have loved to have been in the audience. Like, I'm someone who, I'm content for watching a music video and getting the track. I rarely like watching live performances or any of this stuff, but just seeing the Ladies Code audience, it just looks like I missed out.
Yeah, it's so sad. There's so many of these performances that I've been like, I wish I could have seen that. Actually been in the crowd and seen that, but
yeah,
I get to rewatch it as many times as I want, so it's fun.
That's true.
I'll never experience
yeah. That's the first time I've ever, besides of like the Super Junior super shows or like the HOT like reunion concerts, but the Ladies Code ones, like, I would love to be in like a small crowd. I would love to be in the audience. Min, I think you're having a better day than me. Please tell us your last favorite.
Unsure about that one, but yeah, mine I'm a big 21 fan, so I have to go with Mama 2015. That was the time when CL was promoting her solo single, Hello Bitches, which it's always fun hearing her do that song live because she has to censor it, and it's great. But after her solo performance, 21 performs Fire and I Am the Best together, which was a surprise, and I was so shocked because I'm pretty sure I actually streamed this Mama live, so I was very shocked when I saw it. But the sad thing is, this Mama performance is pretty much the very last time 21 performed together as a group, and it was also the only 21 performance they did in 2015. The previous year, they had just done their world tour, and then there had been nothing since the end of the tour, nothing. So it's a bit bittersweet because the following year after this performance, Minzy left the group, and then the group disbanded. So it was very nice getting to see them perform again after such a long time of no 21 group activities whatsoever. But it's also a bit sad because, like, I love them. The performance isn't perfect, like, at all. I personally find some parts of, like, Hello Bitches a bit tacky. Like, I'm not a fan of bringing motorcycles on the stage and stuff like that. I'm just like, ugh.
I love that stuff. I love it whenever people do that, because it's like, that's a stupid idea. This is an indoor thing. If you turn those on with the exhaust, I just think like that.
And he's moving so slowly too. It's like, you're crawling, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I think of.
I prefer it more than horses, though. Like, don't bring in wildlife.
What?
But
I agree. Oh, totally, yeah.
the other thing that I didn't really enjoy that much is when 21 is doing I'm the Best. Paris Bell, she's an absolutely amazing choreographer. She has worked on movies. She has worked with YG Entertainment quite a lot. She's the one who choreographed a lot of Justin Bieber music videos. Like, the whole reason his song Sorry was popular was because of the music video, and she's the one that did that. She is wonderful. And she also did the choreography for Hello Bitches. And so her and parts of her dance group project thing, I'm not entirely sure. Royal Family also performed on stage, which was really cool. But they did the ending for I Am the Best, and they added, like, their own choreography to it, which I think is okay, but I don't know, it just looked a bit weird, and 21 as a group ended up a bit off-center. So, like, there were more background dancers to one side than the other, so it looked a bit lopsided towards the end, and I don't know, it looked more like an afterthought, so I wished they had just scrapped that part and just kept with the less backup dancers for the end of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I think that might have looked cleaner. I don't know.
The stage
It's weird.
was oddly small, I feel like, the one that they were on.
Yeah.
And they didn't move off of it. So when they did end up with that many people on, I think the blocking must have got messed up.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense for them to be on the far right of a line of backup dancers, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked like something got a little bit wonky somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
But, like, 21 has some great songs. They feel very much like the time that they were released in, but they're still fun to listen to even now. But that being said, I feel like in Fire, I like Fire a lot. I think it's a great song. But I feel like they could have benefited from having some backup dancers at the beginning. Because, honestly, I felt like CL was carrying the entire performance. Because they just all looked so uncomfortable on stage. And I'm not sure why. I'm wondering if they didn't have enough time to practice. So
maybe
it just all looked a bit rushed. Which is unfortunate, because like you said, it's their pretty much final performance together. And it just ended up looking a bit off.
Yeah, I think seeing as they didn't have any group activities, they probably weren't well prepared for it, which is, yeah, it's just sad because it looks messy.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't, but hey, it was nice seeing them again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. It felt like more like a reunion.
Yeah. Which is sad. They hadn't even disbanded yet.
Right.
Well, that's the worst part. That it was like CL going off on her own, and I believe there was also stuff going on at YG at the time.
Yeah.
To where it felt like, a breath of fresh air. We see 21 together on stage, and then it's like, well, goodbye.
Yeah. I mean, they looked really good. I loved their costumes. those were really cool. The amount of extensions each one of them were wearing, it was just a lot of hair. I liked it. I mean, I'm for it, but it's just like, you guys have enough hair to like go around the entire venue with.
Yeah, I remember watching it live and not recognizing Minzy just because she's always had short hair, so I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
She looks nice though. She suits it.
My last one is another Mama 2016 performance, and I think I chose all these Mama ones because these are really the only things I watched. I watched the festivals, but besides that, I didn't really watch any of the other shows. This last one is Boy Meets Evil, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Fire by BTS. And it starts out with J-Hope and Jimin doing a performance to J-Hope's solo song, Boy Meets Evil, off of the Wings album. But then it goes into Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which is a really great song. I think it's one of their best. And the choreography, I love a lot. There's a bunch of jumping in the chorus section, and it just gets me so hyped. I love watching the choreography for this one. And in general, I have an affinity to J-Hope, and he's pretty heavily featured in the title track as well as just in this performance as a whole because he gets the first part with Jimin. So for you J-Hope stans, this one's for you. But yeah, then it goes into this really cool organ piece, and V takes off his jacket, and there's the scars from the Wings on his back, which was a really big part of the Wings era. And it was just, I remember watching that and being like, whoa, they really went all out for this one. And of course, that made the entire fandom freak out. But yeah, the transitions are really well done for the 3 songs. And what's nice about this one, I feel like it's one of the better camera work ones. They don't move across the stage too much, so the camera isn't struggling to find the group.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that. But yeah, and of course they perform Fire as well, because that was a big song of the year. And just rewatching this brought back all the love I had for BTS at that time. And of course, I'm super impressed with how far they have come. But after, like, Fake Love, I kind of fell off the boat. And, I mean, the songs they've released are good. I'm not saying that they have completely gone in a direction that I absolutely hate, but they're just not my cup of tea. So it was nice to go back to a time when I really loved everything they released, all their performances and stuff like that.
The aesthetics on the stage, it's just so great. I love it. It's so pretty.
I love the jackets. They had really great jackets.
Yeah.
My favorite part was how short it was.
Short? Isn't it 10 minutes long?
Their recent ones are like half an hour.
It's true.
Yeah. The recent ones are so long. Like, I'm not sitting here for all that. These longer performances just feel like they drag on to me. Even if, like, they're spectacularly done, which a lot of these are, it's just too much for me. I'm just like, no, I'd prefer to watch a smaller group that has way less screen time.
And it's just, it feels kind of cash grabby because we know they're doing it so more people stay watching because BTS brings in views. And that's fine. And it has nothing to do with BTS as people. It's just the fact that their star power has reached these heights where, you know, they kind of have overtaken...
It's the companies they work with.
Yeah, they've kind of overtaken everything else.
Yeah, like, it has always been... Some groups have always gotten more screen time at award shows. Like, back in the day, Big Bang got some very long performances.
Oh, yeah.
But it has just gotten too saturated. I watched a couple award shows last year, I think, and I remember specifically sitting there being like, half of their performance is pre-recorded stuff because they can't do this live, and then you kind of lose a lot of the reason why you're watching the thing.
Yeah,
you want to see the live stages, and then it's just like cutaways to things.
Especially since they're so busy. It's like they can't be there live sometimes, and it's like, well, why are you giving them so much screen time then?
It just feels too taxing for everyone involved.
Yeah. And also, all award shows tends to be in the same month. Sometimes there's, like, multiple award shows in the same week.
Yeah.
Which must be a hot mess for everybody involved.
Okay, so we've just listed quite a few performances. And like Min had said earlier in the episode, there is going to be a YouTube playlist link that we will tweet out eventually, but it will also be in the show notes. And you can look at those when you have the time. But yeah, for me personally, this was a kind of bittersweet episode just because a lot of these groups have either disbanded, a lot of the performances, they'll have inserts of idols that have passed away, and it was really nostalgic, and I think if you watch any number of the ones we mentioned here, you'll see that too. But it's also nice that we have YouTube as a resource to go back and look at the times that these people were all together and they were all interacting with each other. And it's all gonna start over again this year. We have quite a few shows coming up. Mama is gonna be in about a month, I believe. And all the festivals will follow suit, and we'll probably be looking at least a few of those. Maybe we'll even share some of our favorite performances from these upcoming award shows. But yeah, why don't you give us some trivia?
So, fitting with the theme, the Korean Drama Awards is known for being a prestigious award show. But do you know who was the first idol to receive the Hallyu Star Award? Previously, all recipients had been actors, and it's also important to note that there was a time when people didn't think K-pop was part of the Hallyu wave, and there still is kind of a stigma about idols acting. So, who do you think was the first idol to receive the Hallyu Star Award at the Korean Drama Awards?
It's gotta be Psy, dude.
Psy?
You think it's Psy?
Has he been in a drama before?
Yeah, but this is Hallyu Star. It can be...
It's a drama. He was in a...
Oh,
it had to be
okay.
someone in a drama.
Can you give me
Okay.
a year?
I will give you a hint, though, that it was with their group was involved, but it was absolutely a drama.
I'm still sticking with Psy.
Okay, you're sticking with Psy?
Yeah, he...
Great choice.
He has probably made a cameo somewhere.
Are you saying that
Okay.
all the members were in the drama?
They made appearances. They focused on some of the members of this group. It was a web drama, I will say that.
Web drama.
Which makes it kind of harder, but it is a very well-known group.
I want to say FT Islander CN Blue.
So you're gonna say FT?
That's the earliest I can think back of, like, personally just from what I've seen. I'm trying to think of another. I mean, like, Yuchun from JYJ has acted before. Jaejung has acted before, obviously.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm gonna stick with FT Islander CN Blue. It's probably not them,
Interesting. Okay.
but I don't know.
So, if anyone else thinks they know the answer, please reach out to us. And now, onto the song of the day.
Today, November 1st, 2011, Tableau released his second solo EP, Fever's End Part 2, with the title track, Tomorrow, which featured Taeyang. It is a ballad, kinda, a rap ballad, YG ballad, you know. Okay, it's not really a YG ballad. It doesn't have the Big Bang ballad sound. But it is a ballad-esque song, and it has piano in it, and Taeyang's voice just works so well with anything piano-related, and their voices mix so flawlessly, and it's just great. If you want something kind of sad-sounding to listen to, I don't know what the lyrics are about, because I am a hack, I guess. But you should still go listen to it. It's very pretty.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, then please make sure to rate, subscribe, follow, and tell your friends about us. If you want to interact with us or just see more of our content, then you can follow us on Twitter at KPopSunbase or on our other social media platforms, which will be in the description. Also in the description will be the YouTube playlist we mentioned earlier and the script, which has 3 performances that we did not get to mention in this episode. Also, don't forget that our next episode comes out on November 15th, 2020. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye!
Annyeong.